Today, it's all about training and development within your organizations. How having great instructors and trainers can take your franchise to the next level. Welcome to Top Rated Gym, the podcast that helps ambitious gym owners build profitable and sustainable fitness businesses. I'm your host, Andres Vjovic, and with every episode, we deliver actionable insights, expert advice, and success stories to help you grow your membership, streamline your operations, and achieve financial stability. Even if you struggled with the marketing challenges, emotional overwhelm, or financial limitations in the past. Today, guys, I'm thrilled to have Sara Catherine Holder, the Director of Instructor Training at Bar3. With over a decade of experience at Bar3, she now leads the training of over 1,500 instructors across 180 plus studios in US and Canada. Her expertise in fitness, education, and passion for teaching have been key in shaping Bar3 training program. Let's dive into the world of fitness training with Sara Catherine Holder. Sara, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Let's dive into this. Can you give us, from your own vision, what is Bar3? And later, what do you do there?
Yeah, great. Bar3. Well, I can tell you about the workout. Bar3 is a full body workout that combines strength, cardio, and mindfulness all in one package. So we have multiple class offerings. We have our Bar3 signature class, which I always say we're in the bar category, but our Bar3 signature class, I'm always like, it ain't your mama's bar class. You know, we incorporate a lot of large range of movement. You get sweaty and burning, all the things that you love about a workout. And we've got some other class types that we've launched in the last few years. We are a franchise organization with just right at 190 studios across the US and Canada and growing as we speak. And we are primarily women owned and operated. And it's just a pretty spectacular organization, if I do say so myself.
I can sense the passion. The moment you speak, it just vibrates out. This is so cool. We always says success doesn't teach you a lesson, failure does, right? And challenges do. Mm-hmm. What have you encountered through your career while scaling Bar3 in the training programs that help you today be as good as you are?
Well, that's a great question. I love the way you framed that. It's hard to think about success without the challenges that come before, right? Because the challenges are what equip us to be successfve. I've been with Bar3 for 11 years. Last week was my 11-year anniversary as an employee for Bar3, but I've been working on the training team. I've been working on the training team for almost 8. And I would say my brain immediately goes to the pandemic, and that being one of the greatest challenges for all of us in the fitness industry, right? When what you sell is an in-person experience with many people in the same room, like heavy breathing on one another, it was quite a challenge. The biggest challenge of that was certainly before the pandemic, we were fully in-person training kind of model. We have an LMS, the learning management system. But at that point, it was really housing more information, right? Here's a new video of a template for a class or that sort of thing versus like really interactive e-learning platform. Mm-hmm. And most of the training that we did with our people was in person. In those days, I call it the glory days of in-person trainings in the before times. I was out on the road 25 trips a year, in person all the time with people. And we switched on a dime.
Nobody could expect it.
2020, all of a sudden, all of that was ripped away and we had to learn how to train people virtually. There were people throughout 2020, our numbers dwindled way down, but we were still training new instructors. And I'd just like to take a moment to shout out those people who went through Bar3 instructor training in the year 2020. These people not only were learning as we were learning on a virtual platform, they were also teaching, not even in person, right? Many of them were going to teach on live stream versus the in-studio experience that we all love. Anyway, so shout out to those 2020 trainees. But yeah, right on the flip of a dime, right? We were taken from our in-person experiences to having to learn how to train and scale that training virtually. We weren't on Zoom all the time. It just wasn't something that we were doing. So with that, we learned a lot. We were forced to distill what was the most important parts of the training. So when you're in person, there's all I call it fairy dust, like all the magic that happens when you're with people in real life and you share energy in the same room. And how could we create that same feeling? Because teaching fitness is a passion thing for most people, right? So how can we inspire and engage in the same way virtually that we had been relying on the energy that naturally comes from an in-person experience? And we learned a lot. And what we learned is that it works. And not only does it work, but we were able to break down a lot of barriers to entry for the instructor training program in general. At that time, before the pandemic, most of our new instructor training was happening in Portland, Oregon, which is where we're based. And I don't know if you know, but it's basically the end of the world over here. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to get here. People had to take a lot of time off of work. And being in a virtual situation gave us more opportunity to bring more people in. So yeah, I would say the pandemic and shifting our training model to virtual has been a huge challenge. And like I was saying, it has provided an opportunity for us to elevate in a way that we didn't even know was possible.
And I want to add.
Yeah, please.
I mean, it added such a test to all our skills, to our flexibility, to how agile we are. Like we didn't have a choice. It's like either you make it, you are gone.
Yeah.
And I believe in those times, the most creative ideas are born because everybody had to come up with ideas. Like the world becomes so innovative. And then you said many good things came out. Like, oh, my worst enemy being far in location that's remote becomes now not an obstacle. I can bridge the gap and bring everybody to the training across the globe and widen my net. So it's I think time that makes us all stronger, thinking like, oh, if I can go through that, there's other challenges. I can storm through it.
Absolutely. I remember talking to one of my girlfriends at the time, and we were talking about just surviving that crazy time. And she talked about adaptability and how we're all honing our adaptability skills during the pandemic. And they're not comfortable or pleasant skills to hone. Do you know what I mean? Like it pushed us so far out to the edges, like you said, because we had to. It was like sink or swim. So we were able to, out of necessity, find new solutions and exciting solutions from which since then, now that we're like kind of on the other side of it, have elevated our program, have taught us so much and broken down tons of barriers.
I mean, I honestly can't imagine how, on one side, interesting your job is, and on another side, how difficult it is, because you're dealing with 1,500 different kids. Everybody has to listen and follow the rules, because in a franchise world, one of the biggest challenges, even asking ChatGPT, is compliance to the brand guidelines, doing what everybody else does in the same order so you can have a consistency across the brand. I'm burning to learn. How do you do this? How do you support franchises to building a strong, effective teams?
That is a great question. One of the things, like I was saying, sort of piggybacks on what I was saying. Because of what we learned about the virtual experience, we have really leaned into creating more robust training materials on our LMS. So a lot more e-learning, like virtual self-study kind of stuff. And then we bolster that with the experience. We have what we call mentors at the local level. At each studio has a mentor or maybe a team of mentors that is responsible for the quality of the product at the local level. So we focus at the home office a lot on our instructors, but especially on our mentors, because we know they're the ones that are going to take what we do on the training team and then implement it at the local studio. So one of the things that I love about Bar3 and that has kept me around and intrigued and engaged as an instructor, I still teach myself, is everything that's in our class, every change that happens in our class is backed by a lot of research. It's backed by science. Our product team is always looking at the most recent developments in the fitness world. And whatever we choose to do, there's a very specific reason why. And so when we're training our people, that is the basis of everything. One of our core values is a love of learning. Like we're lifelong, curious students. I heard recently a love of learning you can equate with a joy for learning. So we have people that are in our organization that love to learn. And they really eat up the why. And so as far as like talking to other people who may be in the same boat, really giving people a reason why to do something, and whether that's based in science or because it enhances the client experience, which I'm sure we'll talk about plenty, has really helped us. Because when they have the strong foundation, I always equate it to Simon Says. Like I could say, pat your hand on your head to do that, but pat your hand on your head because it feels really good. If you give them the reason why to do it, then not only are they like, okay, I trust you and I believe you, then they know that there's something backing that gives everything that a lot of power.
Yeah. And I want to add to that. My God, you're so right. See, I asked you how you do it and you didn't go to how, you went to why. Because a lot of people are stuck like, oh my God, how these brands, how these companies, how these competitors do certain things. And then you have that program sold before they even become instructors. You have it in a cultural value. You have it something presented before they even decide to be part of it. It's like, this is our filter. Before you even come, we tell you, we have love for learning. And if you don't love learning, you're kind of finding that this might not be the place for you. Right?
That's exactly
it's like
right.
Alignment even before they even join. Like, this is what we stand for. If you love us, join us.
Yes,
you don't
exactly.
have to reshape. Boom. And Tony Robbins just had a seminar called RPM. And RPM is everything he does. And I love that so much. It stands for Results Oriented, Purpose Driven, Massive Action Plan. And results is like, results. We want to have incredible training, incredible process, incredible. And the purpose is this why. What juices you? Why would you want to have perfect training? Why? And then the last step is called massive action or tasks, how to do it. Yes, there's a learning management system. There's a mentors on a local level. There's the process that's being in place, tuned up, and so on. But unless you have that why in place, everything else is much harder.
Yeah.
So I'm just talking to the audience now, right? This is the part that you can't skip.
Yep. It's funny. This comes up in meetings with our team all the time. A problem presents itself, whatever the case may be. Right now, we're working on, for example, more robust support for instructors in their first year post-certification. What we know is that's a really critical time in the life cycle of an instructor, because it's like drinking from a fire hydrant when you're getting trained. It's like all this new information. There's all these different technical bits, and then you kind of lose yourself in the process, and you're coming back into your confidence and owning yourself, owning behind the mic and all of that. And that first year, they still need a lot of support. So we get into these conversations about what do they need and blah, 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 blah. And all of us will quickly, because we're doers around here. One of our other core values is make it happen. So we're make it happen kind of people. But we have to sometimes pump the brakes a little bit and say, okay, not the how. We're not worried about the how right now. We'll figure that out. We're smart people, but we really need to focus on the critical piece of why we're doing what we're doing, so that, like you said, it's the foundation for everything else.
Simon Sinek starts with why. Everybody does it. It's very interesting because if people miss that part, in my organization, I have a team of developers, and engineers are really focused on features and coding and language and putting on. And when I used to lead a team in my own company, when the company was smaller, I would come in and I'll inspire them. Guys, I get this idea with a client. We have a problem to solve. We'll develop this feature. It's going to be amazing. Look at this client. He's struggling with this. And I'll pump them up. They're like, come on, bring us. Like, what do we need to do? And then I says, we need to accomplish this outcome. And I will come with the features how to do it that might be totally wrong. It's like, Andre, you want an outcome? You tell us why. We are pumped. We have a shortcut. We'll make it much faster than you think. Because that becomes irrelevant. Outcome is what matters. Why is so much pumping the energy into this? You skip those two. Now somebody else came after me, and as a product manager, focused just on how. And everybody's like, why are we doing this? Why are we developing these features? Why are we creating these solutions? People start feeling confused. You cannot miss it. Now, you talk about training. I have a question for you. It totally came out of nowhere. Do you like working with people who are coming from bar industry with existing experience, knowledge, or would you prefer somebody green as an apple to start shaping them the way you want?
Oh, this is a great question. Yeah, can I pick C, all of the above? Right. I think there's
okay.
It's a different situation, right? When you're coming into a training totally fresh, and when you're coming in with some experience teaching fitness, even if it's another modality. Just a side note, I would say a large percentage, I don't have the precise data, but I would say upwards of 70% of the people that we get to coming through our new instructor training programs are new, have never taught any sort of fitness before. So I've worked with those kinds of people all the time. And the reason that they're coming to us for the most part is that they are either a client or they know about our brand and feel aligned with our brand and our brand messaging and what our brand stands for. And they want to help people feel better, right? Like at the end of the day, it's about people wanting to help and connect with other people. So and then fitness instructors already have that passion, right? They already know what it's like to be leading a room. I would say sometimes it's harder with people that have taught other modalities. Teaching bar 3, it's very technical. We have a very technical method of teaching. And so there's lots of the way that we cue and the way that we connect and the way that we work the room and sort of wield the space and the energy is pretty technical. And so a lot of times if you're, let's say, a yoga teacher and you've been used to cueing the body XYZ, there's some like rewiring and unlearning and relearning new habits. And so that can be a hurdle for some people. However, you have with that person, like the confidence of being in front of a room, not being afraid to hear yourself on a mic or what have you, versus having a brand new person who may love what we do, love the brand, know how the class has affected them, their bodies, their lives, and had that impact, but they've never stood in front of people. I'm like, it takes a lot of guts to stand up at the front of the room in tight pants.
Somebody, coach somebody,
you know what I mean?
tell them that,
Yeah. So I would say I love training regardless, but I don't know that I'd say if I'd rather have this or that or the other. When you have a clean slate, you can build the habits from the ground up, but there's something really challenging and exciting about taking somebody who already has a skill set and you can amplify what they're already great at. Even if there's those moments where we got to rewire when you say this, but taking skills. And that's really how we coach and train at Bar 3 is strength-based. There's like the baseline technical aspects, the things that you have to be able to do squats on the beat and talk at the same time. Like you have to be able to do that. But otherwise, we're looking at strengths and individual personalities, individual perspectives, and amplifying that so that at the front of the room, you have a really authentic leader that your clients are able to connect with on a really deep level.
Wow. You kind of nail it, because I know in any organization, sometimes forgetting things is harder than learning new things. It's like we're all creatures of habits. Just try one morning when you're taking a shower to brush your body a different way than you used to do it. Whoa! Somebody told me, I read the book, was like, just try doing things differently than you are used to it. You will see how complicated it is. I hit my elbow in the shower. I did this totally different. Like, oh, we are so much creature of habit, and it comes with the benefits, but also we need to know learning is everything that matters there. So let me ask you about your own learning. Okay. You're a director of training. How did you really get inspiration? I want to know your journey, because you're part of the industry for a long time. But what I want to know is what gives you hunger? Like, where is that coming from? What juices you up every day?
Yeah, great question. Well, I mean, how long you got? So before working for Bar 3, I was an actor full time. That's what I did. So I spent my early years in my career performing, and I had never worked outside of the day jobs that sort of supported my acting career, like being a nanny or working in service jobs. I had never worked in a sort of like business sense. So I didn't have a lot of perspective on that. So it has been over the years, like on the job training when it comes to understanding how the business works, understanding the franchise system and framework. And so you said, what gets me juiced up every morning? I love brand standards. Do you know what I mean? Like I love consistency. I love finding ways to clearly communicate across the board, like what expectations are. I feel like that's what we're always doing on our team. Like our class, like I said, it's technical. There's some things about it that are complicated. We've had this signature class that's been around for 16 years. We've been doing this class. And so inevitably over time, it's sort of like your basement, like over time, it just is more and more and more. And if you're not constantly sort of refining and cultivating and throwing some things out and bringing things in that make things better, then it can be out of control. So we're constantly working to refine our systems, bring more clarity when it's like, what does this exactly mean when we say we want you to do XYZ and that's what makes it bar 3? How clear and simple can we be in building the framework? Because that's our job as the franchisor, is to build a clear framework by which everybody can deliver a consistent. So yeah, I think it's the consistency and communication are sort of my jam.
And your passion is
outside of like being with people. Because
listen,
that's my
you already have incredible two things like performing. You have that in you. But now when you connect something like that to a standards, and those are usually two different things. When you connect love for processes and operations and standardizing things with your performance, it's like you get a very rare mix. That's what makes you good in what you do. But let me ask you this. How do you recognize good bar 3 instructor? What makes a good bar 3 instructor? Because not everybody's on the same level. And if you have a magic wand to say, hey, I want people like this.
What is it with the secret sauce? Yeah, that's a great question. Like I was saying before, there is a baseline skill set that one has to have, and that is musicality, right? You have to be able to move on the beat. Our classes are beat driven, which is part of the reason why they're so just awesome to take, is because we're all moving on the beat. So you got to be able to move on the beat and cue on the beat and move. Our instructors move a lot. They're in the movement with clients a lot more than you're sort of like, when I said this ain't your mama's bar class, like that's part of it. Like the instructor is in it with you. So we need folks that have strong musicality, really great body energy, which means that sort of motivational quality of movement. Like when I see this person move, I just got to like get out of my chair and do squats. And then like the leadership qualities, are they a clear communicator? Can you understand what they're saying? Are they able to hold the space with their voice, with their presence? And so I guess when you outside of the technical skills, I'd say the things that make the best bar 3 instructor are confidence, just owning it. Warmth, that's part of who we are as a company. We strive to create a welcoming and inclusive environment in every single class that we teach. So that genuine, I was talking to a studio owner about this recently. I was like, if you were talking to a new studio owner and you were going to tell them the most important thing about recruiting new instructors, what would you tell them? And they were like, I would talk to that person in the lobby or maybe go to coffee or whatever. And it's like, do I want to spend more time with them? Did they ask me questions about myself? Am I genuinely connected with this person? So finding people that are really good at connecting, have that warmth and connection. And those two things, confidence and warmth. I think.
So I mean, you gave us so many nuggets, and I believe people are listening to this. It's like, holy smoke, I didn't even think about this. Because if you find somebody who doesn't move with the beat and they love the bar 3, but they're just not rhythmical, it's just a part of it. It kind of feels awkward. Like, come on, it's like somebody who doesn't sing like the way he should, and they love karaoke, and everybody's scratching their ears. Like, right? Yeah, I know you're fun, but just you gotta click it, right? You gotta have a very strong physical presence, because if you don't leave, I mean, my wife goes to Zumba, and after a while she lost motivation. It's like, why? It says, I'm there for 3 months, and this coach is the least energy and a heavier person than anybody, and she's not making progress and doesn't motivate me to do that. Like if the example and leader in the room is not the way you want to be, it's like, I gotta find something else.
Yeah.
And because everybody has struggles, they need a voice of leadership. They need somebody who's going to shake their ass, like, come on, pull it up, make it happen.
Yes.
Like somebody who he's not afraid to say, come on, I know you can do better.
Yeah.
I love that when people come to me and just bring me bigger weights. Like, come on, I see you be doing bigger. Like, yes. Like, thank you, brother.
I always say confidence breeds confidence. So when the person in the front of the room is confident in themselves, and like I said, we don't have all fitness instructors coming to us. And I've trained people that are in their early 20s. I have trained people that are becoming bar 3 instructors in their 60s. I have trained all in between. So it doesn't matter what you're bringing, age, body, all that sort of stuff. What matters is that ability to stand up in the front of the room and say, yeah, I want you to follow me. And whatever that motivation is, what it is, right? Like I always tell new instructors, I'm like, they want to be pushed by you. Your clients want to be pushed. That's why they pay a premium to be in here. If they didn't want to be pushed, they'd go walk on the treadmill at the gym by themselves, right? They're paying money to be in here with you so that you will push them. And I was reading something about leaders recently. A leader is somebody who's going to take a group of people to someplace that they wouldn't have gone on their own. And that is exactly the quality that we look for when we're looking at Bar 3 instructors. Is this somebody that can really take our clients and elevate the client experience so that they want to come back? Because at the end of the day, there's endless options out there of what you can do and where you can work out. But the reason that somebody's going to come back, first of all, because we have a banging workout and it makes you feel amazing in your body. Second of all, it's the instructor, right? It's the instructor that says, oh, they took the time to know my name. They took the time to come and check in with me to make sure that I'm feeling successful. Their voice pushed me to a place, or their messaging really resonated with me, or whatever the case may be. And that's the kind of people that you want, are the ones that can really speak authentically to your workout, to your brand, and give your clients that experience that makes them want to come back again and again.
Yeah, and world is changing. People expectations are changing. If they want to just pump the weight, they'll go to the gym, pay $10 a month and be out. They come here for leadership. They come to I love, when I do personal training, I don't go there just to buddy. He kicks my ass. Like, come on, 5 more. And you do 5 more, it's like 3 more. Like, 2 more. And then 1 counts forever. People are now choosing feel good, not just look good. That's part of the mental game. Who are you there with? Who you surround yourself, community, teacher, relationships. It has to be part of that. Experience is not only about losing weight. It's about how it makes you feel while you're there. And that is the thing that's going to catch you back. If you're struggling with retention, check how you make people feel. And my challenge is, go ahead.
No, please.
So my challenge is this. You're so passionate about it. You resonate with energy. Everybody would love to be trained by you directly, but you're one and there's thousands of them. But there's also people who kind of lose it. There are people who want to be, but they have their own struggles and they come to the class and then that repeats and then it becomes standard. How do you get somebody out when they struggled? Or
you mean an instructor, like an employee?
Instructor, employer. How do you recognize? Maybe brand doesn't even know that they have a bad instructor. There's always somebody who's not doing what we want to do and the way we want to do it.
I know. Oh, this is a tough one. Okay. Yeah. So we recommend, part of the framework that I was talking about is like how the regular cadence of check-ins, just like with any job, right? Where your supervisor is going to say, hey, every quarter or however often, like, how's it going? How are you feeling? What do you think you're doing well? What do you feel like? Blah, blah, blah. And like, this is what I've noticed. So I think a culture where constructive feedback and open lines of communication are the norm. Like, we're talking about what you're doing and how you're performing on the regular, not just when you're doing poorly and not when you're doing well, but consistently having points of contact. And that's the mentor's job, what I was talking about before. Those are our mentors. And we teach our mentors to, I mentioned this before, strength-based learning. So what we've found with instructors in the beginning, an instructor needs really clear guidance. This is what you need to be working on. And it's a lot more black and white in the beginning, if you will. You're not saying the right time for whatever. But as an instructor becomes more seasoned, and like you said, maybe things evolve and they become more confident or whatever, the mentor's job and our job in turn is to keep those instructors engaged with what we're doing, right? It comes back to that strong why and all of that. So first and foremost, to say that a culture of consistent, thoughtful, clear feedback. What is it? Brene Brown says, clear is kind, right? Like being really clear, not ever skirting around the edges, being like, this is what I'm seeing. And these are the expectations, right? And let's talk about that and tell me what's going on. A lot of times what you find behind that is like, oh, I got a promotion at work and things have been crazy and I don't have the brain space right now to do this, because the truth of the matter is, and I don't know what it's like in other fitness companies, but for our company, most everybody is doing this as an add-on to the rest of their life, right? They've got their family, they've got their other job, and then they come to Bar 3 and teach because it's something that they love outside of the other things that they're doing. So we have to be realistic about expectations too, about what can a person give, and really understanding and knowing that person deeply. And sometimes you get down to the end of it and it is just, do you want to do this anymore kind of question? And that's always a hard spot to be, because it's hard to let go of people, because I know you spend time and resource and energy in training someone. But at the end of the day, if somebody is not delivering a product that your clients want to engage with, then that's a conversation that needs to be had. And as the owner of a studio or a gym, that's a serious consideration, right?
And here's my point on that one. You see, I believed in every organization, people should choose that job, not, it's almost like this is my choice and I should do what I love to do. Not because of money, because it's my passion and it's my commitment, it's my contribution to the world. It's my calling. Referrizer is giving your gym a special 90-day free trial of the Reputation Max package. Oh my God. With this, you can get 3 to 10 times more reviews, automate everything, and even use AI to help reply to reviews, all while keeping your gym safe from bad one-star reviews. This offer is only for short time, and it's available for the first 10 listeners of each episode. Go to topratergym.com/3 free months to grab this deal. And many companies, I see that over and over, even with my clients, that they fail to let go people on time. They fail to recognize that something went rogue. They fail to act quickly. Usually when you have a player, if they have challenge in life, if you ignore it, you gotta kill the beast while it's small, not when it becomes a Godzilla eating your business.
That's right.
That's why often conversation with people are so important. Recognize what's happening in your life. How can I help you? How can I be there for you? People appreciate you being caring towards their life, towards the challenges they might be going through. And they will reciprocate, like, listen, I need you to step in. I really have, something going on. Or says, oh, this person cares. Oh, listen, I tried. This doesn't work. Shit, I gotta go back. So they'll test like little kids. Like, what can I do that might be not based on the standard? We gotta take that in consideration. And the final thing is, listen, I remember one of the very first clients I had, we implemented a new feature called call track, because he was complaining, I'm sending them so many leads, and it was like hundreds of leads, and there's no sales. It's like, oh my God, this frustrates me. What's going on? So I was like, okay, I gotta understand. We implement a system that can record the calls and do it for coaching purposes. And then very first day, I saw that people answering phone calls because, oh, we don't have any more availability. Sorry, come in 3 weeks. Like rejecting people over the phone. So he goes in and he let go people right away. 3 people in his business. And I felt so bad. I felt like, oh my God, this is not what I intended to do. No, this was not the outcome I was after. So I go there, I see the same employee, I walk into the business, and these same employees told me, thank you, Andre. You have no idea. Like, I could not stand this guy for years. I'm so glad I'm out. Boom. And they hated the business. They're out. They found a job that they respect him and love them. And then he found somebody who's passionate about that. It was long overdue. It's a bad relationship. You gotta cut the ties. I'm just saying that it's always good to prevent, but if it's too late, people carry bad things for a long time.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah. I think kind of going back to this, I remember one of my mentors told me early in the game, everybody's better at their job when they know what their job is, right? Like clear expectations of what you expect as the boss of the place, right? And then when those aren't being met, then you can have a conversation about it and know that seasons of life change, things change, businesses change, organizations change, things grow, people, their circumstances just change. And so sometimes it's healthy to go through these cycles where it's not for everybody all the time, and that's okay.
Yeah. And when we let go of people in our company, we have conversations, and usually it's mutual agreement. Says, listen, this doesn't work for you. You are struggling. You are doing yourself a no favor. And we as a company help them find another job. And it's usually they get even paid better or some different company, and we are good friends and they become consultants later on and so on. But if it's something doesn't work, no matter how much you are pushing, but if it's not clicking for you, or it's, let's say we have employees across the globe. And now this person was working out of Philippines for us, overnight shift, starting 9 p.m., going to 5 a.m. in the morning. He got a family, he got kids, and it's destroying him, destroying his health. He is getting sicker. It's like, buddy, this is not working for you. You got to find something that, like, no, but you know what? I cannot leave you. I was like, no, you have a family to take care of it. This is
Yeah.
absolutely destroying you,
Mhm.
right? Take yourself 3 months to find somebody, but you got to do it. And
Yeah.
later on, when the kids gets up, doors will be open. We're still great friends. And it turns out to be incredible for Paul because he was suffering. He was always sleepless. He's coming up with a high performance and he was destroying him as well.
Yeah. And you know what that takes, though, is self-awareness on both sides.
Yeah.
It takes from the employee and from you as the leader to really be connected, to be dialed in to what's going on with your people so that you can ask those questions. Like, I love this when I'm talking to, I'm like, this is what I've noticed. Like, what do you think is going on? And
Yeah.
you gain that information from them, and it can help guide those conversations. Not to say that it's comfortable for anybody, because those conversations are hard, but that's showbiz, kid. That's what,
It
that's like
is.
kind of the way it
It
is.
is. Oh my God. I have one of the very cool questions that I ask everybody, but I want to see if in your industry, and I'm not familiar with your industry as much as I'm learning now for any when it comes to implementation, cross rollouts, and let's say introducing new software, and then everybody has to jump on a wagon, and there's resistance, there's a change from old to new one. Like, do you have any KPIs, anything you use to measure how well organization works in your department?
You
Is this a
know,
part of it or
is
totally not?
that is a really interesting question. It is something that we have been trying to nail down for a long time. Because what's interesting about it is like bar three wouldn't exist without the bar three signature class. Like the
Yes.
class is what we sell, right? Like it's what it is. And it's hard to tie direct lines and direct KPIs to how the performance of the in terms of the performance of the instructor, right? So there's a few things that we look at when we measure the class. Obviously attendance, right? Like how many people are coming, utilization, which is basically like the percentage of the spots used in the
Mm,
class. But one point of data just can't really, so it's like several things that tell the story about what's going on. And it's not always related to the instructor, but these are things that
yeah.
you can think about. Are people coming to their classes? Are the numbers high or are they good? A conversion and retention. Like
Mm,
when a new client comes to this person's class, do they come back, whether it's to my class, because that's hard to say. I teach 3 classes a week or 4 classes a week. A new client may come to my class, but are they coming back within the next couple of days, whether it's to my class or somebody else's class, right? So is the experience that they're getting in that space with the instructor one that makes them want to come back? And then obviously retention to stay. And you can
yeah.
see, in we use those sort of analytics but
And
we're
those are
getting and measuring the success of the instructor specifically.
mm,
Yeah.
it's always good because people, A players like numbers. A players like to measure and compare and
Mhm.
compete and become better in what they're
Yeah.
doing. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard when it's not tangible. Like, okay, how can I do it? Right? Maybe I can get it based on the feedback, how people rate me, how people stick to me. Is it my retention class better than another instructor in another class, and so
Yeah.
on.
And
You
that's
know.
really tricky, right? Because we have worked really hard, and the way that we build our instructor team and the way that we pay our instructors is not based on the
Mm,
capacity of the class, because we don't want to pit instructors against one another. When we teach people about sales, it's like, hey, is this a normal class time for you? Great. I think you should take Mary's class. She teaches at 10 a.m. on Thursdays, and she's incredible. You'll love the way she cues the body or whatever, right? We're
customer centric.
constantly working to lift one another up. And so it's finding those ways to measure that they can be measuring against themselves versus one another.
Wow. And it's more towards what customer really wants, not what I want.
It all really boils down to the client and what the client needs and the client's experience in the studio.
My God, I could sit down with you for 3 hours and listen to you and ask much hundred more questions, but I know our time is coming up. I have a quick questions, and this is like whatever comes out in your mind first, one line answer.
Oh
And
gosh.
I'll,
Okay.
yeah, it's like whatever comes in your mind. So I usually say leaders are learners. You'll get your knowledge from somewhere. So I want you to tell me what is the inspiring leader or book or podcast or mentor that teaches something? Like, where do you go to get your knowledge?
I'll just, like you said, first thing into my brain. So I'm reading a book right now that I have loved, and I'm going to make sure that I get the woman's name right. It is called Scaling People: Tactics for Management and Company Building by Claire
Wow.
Hughes Johnson. And I mean, it is a very tactical book. It gives you lots of how-tos, but the way that she's talking about growing companies, and our company right now is in a period of accelerated growth, which is really exciting. But what she mentions in this book, and I come back to again and again, is that like when you're scaling a business, the people that work for you, you also have to scale. They have to scale to the call.
Yes.
So like they're learning and growing all the time as well, like at the same rate as the company. I have found so much inspiration in this book in the last couple
Oh,
of months.
some little bird told me that one day we'll see a book with your name on it.
Maybe. Goals.
Who knows what's going to happen? So, do you have any recommendation for conferences for people to attend with
I don't
specifics?
really. No, I don't.
Awesome. Now, people are thinking, how do we get to know more about this Bar 3 brand, about this amazing culture, about this coaching program? Somebody's listening to this like, I always want to be part of this organization, or maybe trainer in this organization. So, question is, how would you like me to share your contact information? Can somebody get in touch with you or your brand
Yeah,
so people can
absolutely.
find more information about it? What's the best way for somebody to go now and Google it or get you?
Yeah, bar3.com is our website. We have an online platform as well. So you can check out what our workouts look like. You can do them in the comfort and pleasure of being at home and doing your workouts there. We have tons of great other like supplementary content as well on our blog. If you have questions or want to reach out directly to our training department, you can reach out to bar3 training at bar3.com. Always happy to engage with people there. And yeah, on our bar3.com website, you can find a studio location in your area. So we have, like we said, 190 or so studios around the country, and you can go and get the experience in real life, which is just, I have to tell you, the best. And meet one of these incredible women. All of our studios are run and operated by women. You can go and meet these incredible people who are delivering our top-notch product and taking incredible care of our clients all over the country.
It's experience that's very unique. It's experience that can be only experienced in Bar 3 locations. So if you're listening to this and you're curious, go check it out.
Yeah, check it
Try
out.
first, then ask questions.
That's right.
Oh my God. Guys, we're wrapping up with this episode. I gotta say, Sara, we need more people like yourself in this world.
Well,
You're an incredible person, incredible coach. Now we understand why people love you, why people love your energy, your passion. It's contagious, to say
oh,
so. And we hope to see you in the next episode sharing more these incredible topics with us. So until then, for everybody listening to this, please share this episode with the people you want to touch their lives, because there is something here that is for everyone. And thank you for being here. We
thank
appreciate
you
it.
so much for having me. Thank you so much.
If you are a gym owner looking to become a top-rated gym in your area, visit topratedgym.com and grab our free 30-day reputation boost. That's topratedgym.com. I'll add it to the show notes for you. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off.